Well, I am certainly happy with this episode of The Ancient Magus' Bride. An issue that many have been talking about all the time, every single week. Every time a new episode comes out of the series, someone always mentions the fact that Chise and Ellis's relationship is creepy. Just straight creepy, very weird, and this isn't really romance. This is something you see every single week, every time an episode comes out. And I'm glad that this episode finally tackled something that many have been commenting on since the series first began. Because, I mean, we all know Chise, as a character, she is emotionally damaged. She is someone that has had a very rough past. She is someone that has had a horrible upbringing because she was constantly shifting around from place to place, never really had a proper foundation or home or place to call home, and, you know, nobody really seemed to really love her or care for her. And, you know, someone that's like this demon-looking dude that is Ellis, he is the only person in her life that's actually treated her rather nicely, and since he can't really comprehend things right and all that, it's very weird. It makes it for a very awkward relationship, especially when we go back a couple episodes, and he does reveal that he's been saying things that Chise wanted to hear. So that does let us know that he definitely was doing some weird stuff to Chise, and it was just really awkward and just messed up. And I'm glad that this episode finally tackled something that many have constantly been talking about. So let's get right into that. So, the issue many were having is that Chise, since she is so damaged, she was going along with anything that, you know, her owner or the person she's starting to care about, the person that's like her, you know, father figure or even lover, she's doing anything the person says, and she clearly didn't care. She didn't really care about her own self-worth. She didn't care about herself. You can see she just was only there because she finally had someone she could cling to and just be a little bit happy. And so it was very weird. And now seeing how in this episode Chise's starting to think on her own, you know, be a little bit selfish and actually get things that she wants, or in this case not accepting everything that is said to her, makes for a very good episode, especially for her character development, because it's been building up constantly. It's been something in the background and all that, building every single episode for this very moment, and that's exactly what happened. When you see this episode pop up, and Chise starts thinking in her mind, like, everything he's saying right now, like, majority of it's like half-truths and all that, and it's very truthful, because he doesn't really want to explain everything. He doesn't completely lie, but he's not saying everything because he just doesn't feel like Chise really needs to know. And since he can't really comprehend, you know, humans, their emotions, and how it feels and all that, obviously it makes a lot of sense why he acts like that. But even then, though, he never really said everything truthful. He never gave the full picture, and in this case, Chise is finally starting to question that. She is finally questioning what is told to her and is like, this is definitely not right and all that, this ain't correct, and she is starting to seek answers. She wants to know more, and that just shows that she is finally starting to open up and change a little bit for the better. So, very good stuff. Overall, very good stuff. Very good message with this episode, but let's also talk about how creepy and eerie certain segments of this episode was that really fit the tone and also complicate more along the lines of Chise and Ellis's relationship. For instance, the scene when, you know, the episode opens up, and apparently Ellis has been stuck in his room for about 2 weeks since the end of the last arc. He hasn't left. He's been just, you know, keeping to himself, not doing anything. It's obvious a couple of things could be on the table here. Either A, he doesn't know how to deal with his emotions right now because whatever, you know, was going on in the last arc when he got really upset and angry because of what happened to Chise, maybe he just doesn't know what's going on, and maybe he's just in a very complicated state, and he's like, what do I do? What was that feeling? He just doesn't know how to react, and that's why he's shutting himself off. Or number two, he's in a very dangerous state because since Chise was using magic and she kind of like absorbed him a little bit, maybe he's in a dangerous state where he's repairing himself and he can accidentally harm Chise in any way, and he doesn't want to be responsible for that. So that's why he probably is locking himself up. Now, regardless of whatever it may be, though, the episode opens up to show that there is definitely a problem going on. And a majority of the episode is spent with Chise trying to hunt down Ellis and figure out where he's at. And eventually at the end, we actually get to that. We have it to where he is laying down in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the water, by himself, not really, doing anything at all. Chise's like, what are you doing and all that, and he tries to basically sweep it under the rug, get her out of the way and all that, to where, this question won't be answered at all. I mean, that leads into, the half-truths and all of that. But basically, though, once everything is said and done, though, we could see these quick glimpses before that happened, that Chise, she went into Ellis's room, and he was in this form that was, his main original form, this very dark and demonic-looking form, and he basically says he can't really control himself right now. And when you look at this, it was a very creepy scene, because you don't know exactly what all happened there, and also you don't really know if Ellis, the way he was acting, if he wanted to devour Chise or not, because the way he was looking at her and all that, especially when she was laying down in the bed, and you just see how he was looking over and all that, and you see how the man was just, had saliva coming out of his mouth. It was just very creepy, but it had a very nice tone. I think many can agree that it was a very well done scene. Very well done scene. Probably the best scene of the episode, personally, to me, just because of the tone of it and the way it was presented to the audience. But anyways, though, let's talk about the stuff with the vampire. So, this little segment, it was a very short segment, and I don't think it's going to have anything of rather importance for the future of the series. It's going to be something very minor, nothing too dramatic for the plot. However, there is this brief little scene in the episode where we see this old man that he's by himself. It looks like he's a very lonely old dude or whatever. He doesn't really have much or many people to talk with, and so when Chise came around, it looked like he wanted to be friendly, he wanted to talk with someone, because he doesn't really get to talk at all. And Chise goes in his place, and he basically says, he writes things, and, Chise gets to read it. And this writing is very similar to what he was describing, or what the vampire was describing, when she made eye contact with this dude. Now, getting into the vampire, though, basically, the vampire, or this creature, the vampire, in this series, it latches onto someone, and it sucks the person's blood, but in turn, it brings the person great fortune. And this is a good thing, but because of his age and who he is, if she was to do that, it most likely would kill him. So she clearly is not drinking the man's blood, but she sticks around him, and it seems like she does care about him and love him, but she doesn't want to harm him in any way. And there's definitely some very complicated emotions going on there, especially when she describes, she felt like their eyes met when they were in the garden, the rose garden, felt like their eyes met. And he wrote a story on that exact moment, which is not exactly explained how he saw her, but regardless, though, she made eye contact with him, and she started to gain these feelings. She stuck around him, but she didn't give him fortune. She didn't suck his blood to give him great fortune, because she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to make it look like, she was doing that out of love, like this certain type of love, but also it would harm the man. So she was holding herself back, even though it's clear as day she cared for the man. She was sticking around him and taking care of him for a very long time. And it's a very sweet story. It's very sad in a way, because, she can't really talk with the man. The man doesn't even really know she's there. But at the same time, though, it seems like she's watching over him, kind of like a guardian angel. So it's a very sweet scene. I like the message of that, showcasing that sometimes love is just very complicated. It's just hard to really work it out or figure it out. And I think that's what this, overall scene, or that segment of the episode, was trying to represent. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, the episode overall, it was a good episode. I like, getting to see, Roof, being that guardian angel for, Chise. I guess that also correlates with what the vampire was doing. Just some very good stuff overall with this episode. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you enjoyed this week's episode of The Ancient Magus' Bride. If you hate this episode, please also be honest in the comments below. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please leave a like. Please be safe. Chibi out.